Welcome, everybody, to podcast number 276. Are you creating a feedback loop at your most critical point in the system? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. This podcast today is titled Continuous Improvement, and this is a continuation of the Integrated Production Control System series. And so again, I do want to say that I'm moving backwards from the continuous improvement section, then to accountability, and then to the other steps in the system as we go along. And I want to make sure that we're really grasping these concepts one by one. And so today's will probably be the most difficult, but it is the most important in my mind. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. And before we get started on that topic of continuous improvement, just let me say a couple of things. So at Elevate Construction, I do project recovery, boot camps and training, and consulting for construction companies, whether that's business consulting, organizational health consulting, operations. And so I want to let you know that if you have anybody who's struggling in these areas, please reach out because you deserve the help. They deserve the help. And if you have a question, please let me know those questions and I'll post those on our YouTube channels. I got 2 yesterday. I'll be cranking those out before noon today, Arizona time. And just love the feedback. So what am I excited about in life today? I did a post yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday about a team, about an organization, about a company who is really taking it to the next level from an organizational health standpoint. So they have implemented lean systems, morning huddles, 3S'ing, and the creation of continuous improvement videos, and it's absolutely fantastic. But also, they're taking their organizational health journey as well. And they are not a contractor, so anybody can do this. They have implemented the motive, the 5 dysfunctions of a team, death by meeting, the advantage, the truth about employee engagement, and the ideal team player. And when you do that, when you go through that system, there's a very intentional process to create clarity within the organization that I really find quite remarkable. And again, I do want to say that it works everywhere we try it because businesses have to be very, very clear about where, not only why do they exist, but where are they going so that everybody can go along with them. So once the leadership team is organized and everybody understands who's doing what by department or division or by functional area or even just by role, then that leadership team does their first offsite and they develop their mission, their values, their purpose. They organize and start building that leadership team. They make sure that they have clarity with the organization, and then they start to work on that through some ad hoc meetings throughout the next month or 2 months. Then they make sure at the second offsite that they understand their secret sauce, their big, hairy, audacious goal, their thematic goal, which could be the next 6 to 12 months. They start developing standard company objectives, defining objectives according to that thematic goal, KPIs. And then there's a process called catchball, which happens throughout the organization that scales those goals and aligns every functional department throughout the organization. And then that's when groups and teams, they create their own systems, their own huddles, their own huddle boards. We do a trust alignment workshop. And then we make sure that all systems are cascading in both directions and a continuous improvement system is created. So that actually kind of aligns with what we're talking about today. My point is there are definite steps, whether you use Jim Collins, whether you use some of the books that I mentioned yesterday or the day before, or whether you use Patrick Lencioni, there are definite ways to get a leadership team themselves through their own research and reflection and implementation working in I'm going to say this, a remarkable way with great organizational health. And I've seen it work very, very well. And so that's one of the things that I'm excited about, to see more companies where people are really enjoying where they work. They have what they need. They have that connection, that relevance, and that measurement. And their organization is healthy and it's not destructive. And we're blessing and improving people's lives as we go. So that's what I'm excited about. And I saw it firsthand yesterday with a company that's on fire and continuing and will continue and dominate in their market. Here's some feedback for us. Jason, I hope you're doing well and the family is staying safe. Like all supers, I'm behind in my reading, but I finally got through your book. I had to finally get the audiobook. I love a good old-fashioned paperback, but I just couldn't dedicate the time. Well, I have to say bravo, well done. I would strongly recommend this work to anyone in the industry. You hit all the high points of things we all know are right, but always need to remind ourselves. You state the obvious and then restate it until people listen. I would be willing to collaborate on your future works. Best of luck and keep up the good work. And this is just a really good bit of feedback. The other thing is, people already knew these things. We just needed to be reminded. Okay, so here's some conflict for us. We are not following the simplicity of continuous improvement systems. So let me tell you a story. And I forget to tell this story quite a bit in these podcasts, so I don't think that you've heard this before. But at the research laboratory, we gave everybody 5S and the 8 waste cards. And it wasn't a perfect system, but we gave everybody those cards and reviewed them every day in the morning worker huddle, every day. And we would talk about how they work together, talk about how to see them, talk about what was in our way. We would include those in the we wouldn't. We did include those in the orientation. We had an extended Foreman orientation, and it was really quite effective. And we had enough of these, quite effective in the sense of bringing awareness. And we had enough of these that in the morning when I said, hey, everybody, hold up your cards, if they were missing some, we would be able to replace them. They were, I think a couple $100 for thousands of these little cards printed, and everybody had them in their pocket. I learned that from Paul Akers, and we would talk about the 8 waste, and everyone would 5S every day because we bought that out in their contract. And it wasn't easy, but it was possible through the morning worker huddle. I would say that it is impossible, or it could be impossible, without that huddle every morning. And so as we started, we would immediately talk about the 8 wastes and apply them to what they were doing and help them to have eyes to see. Once they were done getting that training and general site instruction and coordination, and we received feedback from them on how we could improve the site and make it clean and organized and beautiful and safe, then they would go into their individual crews and they would do the crew preparation huddle, and their foreman would take them through a stretch and flex and prepare the day with a pre-task plan and get all other material and informational preparations done for the crew so that they could go be successful. Now, we didn't take this as far as we should have. I only got 160 lean improvement videos on that project, and now looking back, we could have got 600 or 800 had I implemented this the right way. But I have implemented this, meaning doubling down on the understanding of the entire project site of the 8 wastes and them doing their 5S or 3S, whichever one you want to do, and making continuous improvement steps that tie to not the production only of when you're actually in the flow with your crew, but the in-betweens where we get interrupted, the roadblocks, the missing information, the RFIs, the work that wasn't made ready, the missing materials, the things like that. Those are the things that we need to be finding and fixing on a daily basis. And it takes some tenacity, but I am telling you that it's possible. If I ran a project today as a superintendent, I would spend most of my time here to create production, even though most of the folks on site are trade partners. And so that's me. If somebody was like, hey, I'm only doing self-perform, lead the way with self-perform. This system at the BSRL site got people talking about the 8 wastes, got them understanding the culture, got them to a point where they were making improvements, where they were taking videos, where they were doing better with production, and where they were making money as a team. And so what I want to talk to you about today is after you're done with the entire system, when you're done with pre-construction, when you're done with setting up remarkable environments, when you're done with building that project management team, when you're done with scaling accountability systems, all of that was for improving your continuous improvement systems, doing Kaizen, and making sure that you have fanatical quality systems out there on site. So here are the principles. Everybody on site and everybody in your organization needs to learn the 8 wastes. We cannot underestimate this. I'm sure some of you are saying, Jason, I love this. This is great. Most of the other things you tell me are easy and implementable. I'm going to check out on this one podcast. No big deal. Don't be offended, Jason. Hey, I'm not offended, but we cannot underestimate this. People do not know what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing if they don't know what the 8 wastes are and they don't know how to apply them to their work in the morning. And we have to. In fact, for some organizations where they have spread out jobs, I would even say you should probably broadcast out a morning worker huddle for all workers throughout the entire organization through a YouTube channel or through some other way every day on your separate sites, because it's going to make a world of difference. Okay, so your people have to know the 8 wastes by memory. And I know them by memory now. And it's probably taken me 10 years. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. It's overproduction, excess inventory. Excess inventory causes motion and transportation. The neglect of focusing on what we should be doing or the actual transportation of something causes defects. Defects cause overprocessing because you have to go back and fix them, and overprocessing causes waiting, and waiting was a waste because we're not using the genius of the team. And like I said, the transportation was excess motion. These things work in a system, and you don't need to use an acronym or some other way to memorize them if you know the principle behind them, just like Paul Akers says. So we have to know the 8 wastes. Everybody has to know the 8 wastes, and we have to 5 or 3S in the morning to see problems and throughout the day. So we need to fanatically train our crews. No, it's not when we're in the zone, when we're in the flow that we're really worried. It's when something interrupts us, and we need the foreman to track that at every single point throughout the day, and either shoot a video right away or write it down or text the general contractor or do something so that we can remove those ahead of time in the future. Now, here's the system. Here's the principle. If everybody on the project site went to an afternoon foreman huddle where they turned in their daily reports and they reported their production, and this can be an internal company system or it can be something else, and then worked with the general contractor to say, hey, today I had to move that pile. Today I was interrupted by this RFI. Today this. And every day, instead of in the afternoon foreman huddle just saying, hey, where are you going to be tomorrow? But actually start to coordinate in a way that will reduce or eliminate the 8 wastes the next day. That's when we're going to start to make money and see production and improve our world. So for the afternoon foreman huddle, the foremen come in with their daily reports and a report on what they were able to produce that day and see whether or not they were able to win. And if your company doesn't know how to track what they were supposed to do that day to make their units from a production standpoint, then I would definitely say you have to fix that. Then in the afternoon foreman huddle, and partially for each individual foreman after the fact, the afternoon foreman huddle should plan the next day and plan their production. I imagine a meeting one day where it's either 15 or 30 minutes where people come in, they coordinate on what the plan is for the next day. They talk about the things, and not in this order, but they talk about, they hand in their daily reports. They talk about that person by person. They talk about what held them up that day, and they collectively said, how can we create more flow for each other the next day? And then the next 30 minutes in the afternoon Foreman huddle was really kind of a quiet session where the superintendent is working with each individual foreman to make sure that they have on their sheets the target production for the next day, the improvements that they're going to make for their crews the next day, the things they're going to teach their foreman on the crews the next day in order to make better production. And they're working with them one-on-one until each one has everything that they need. They show the superintendent, hey, this is my form completely filled out. I'm ready to go. I know where I'm headed. And then they duck out. That's what I would think would be a really neat, successful system. And I'm going to have available the forms and the planning techniques for this system immediately. We're going to develop them and use them and implement these on projects in an expanded fashion because, like I said, I've already implemented this on projects to great success. So when they do not meet their production on a daily basis, they need to connect why with those 8 wastes, track those in-betweens, and make sure that they're doing before and after lean improvement videos. And then on the next day, when we do the worker huddles, whether it's by crew or by company or by project or for a company that has multiple projects, training has to be provided for the foreman and the workers, or the foreman to the workers, that say, hey, this is how we're going to change and improve for the better what we did yesterday today. And this can be done on larger scales with GroupMe as well. Now, some will say that the last planner system should be doing this, but the last planner system tracks why activities weren't done mostly on a daily basis en masse. And it doesn't have a short enough latency to do a whole lot of good, although I would say continue to track your percent plan complete and your variances, but it does track them as a group. And I do want you to still be doing that, but I'm saying each individual crew needs to know why they were not winning. They need to discuss how they can win tomorrow, and that all needs to be recorded on a video with the improvement that they're going to take according to lean principles to make better production the next day. I'm talking about doing this on a company by company basis. And if you as the GC can only start with your own self-performed crews, this is what I'm recommending. So to do this, your crews and your foreman need to know the 8 wastes. I would talk about them, teach them, repeat them, post signs about them, give them cards, give rewards, substantial rewards if they can they can tell you by memory the 8 wastes and why they're created. I'm talking like $200 to $500 gift card if they can stand and deliver a presentation or a recitation of the 8 wastes. Everybody needs to be able to 3S or 5S every day. They need to understand basic lean principles of flow. They need to be looking for flow, and they need to be encouraged and supported in their continuous improvement. Or our huddles are just a coordination of always giving the general contractor more of what they need and nobody improving their own and the collective production and throughput of the project site. Our huddles need to talk more about this. So let's go to individual companies. If you are a general contractor with self-perform, or you are a trade partner, or you are a company with multiple crews throughout multiple projects, every day after your crews learn to see the 8 wastes and they are 5S'ing every day, I would gather videos daily when they don't meet their production and then deploy morning training to correct it with a feedback loop that works on a daily basis. For projects, I would do the same thing, and that superintendent would work with each individual foreman. Because our current condition, we don't memorize the 8 wastes. We only focus on commitments that benefit the general contractor, not actual coordination and the changing of actions and beliefs that will actually improve production and remove roadblocks and increase flow. We are focusing too much on the actual task dates and not making work ready in a flow and removing the waste ahead of that flow. And so my challenge would be, your huddles should coordinate, but they should also create flow. In those huddles, you should make very sure that every foreman knows exactly what they're going to do to win more the next day. your systems, and Felipe Engineer talks about this all the time. If you're implementing Last Planner or Takt and you're not picking up time, then we're not doing it right. We need to be picking up time and improving the not only the crew efficiency, but more importantly, the flow efficiency of everything that we're doing, and picking up time and getting it faster to the customer. Every day, foreman should see what is going on, correct that, and plan the next day. And I know this might sound like, holy cow, Jason just dropped a bomb on us, but this is not only possible, it's what we should be doing. I encourage you in this, and you have all of my support. If you need any templates or formats for these things, if you want a list or a description on how to do this thing, if you want to do a phone call, if you need consulting, please let me know, because until you have a continuous improvement system on site or with your crews, we're not going to start making the massive improvements with production that we could be. And so I hope this helps. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.